Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 26 of What If Naruto Was Sent to the Marvel World. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for What If Naruto Was a High Schooler. And over on Anime King 2, I post a new episode of What If Naruto Was a Deceitful God. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy guys. And also later on I'm going to be posting What If Aizuna Uchiha was Naruto's ancestor. So stay in tune for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails.
So, the last part we left off, Naruto was brought to the scepter as he got the Mind Stone after telling the man what is truly inside of it. The man surrendered, but Naruto told him that he actually going to let him go. As Naruto said all of the despicable things they did, human experiments, they don't deserve to live. As Naruto let Kurama roam free for a bit and incinerated the place. The real Naruto then appeared at the meeting where everyone else was, as they were called inside. As the man showed them a video feed of the news that is going on with Naruto incinerating the place. As Ross asked Naruto what was he doing there. As Naruto told him that he went for the scepter. As he asked Naruto what is inside the scepter, as Naruto told them about the Infinity Stones and all that, and about Thanos. And that he is the only one that is capable of guarding these stones, since he's the only one of his kind that can go to the place that he put them. As Ross was happy to hear that, no other beings of this mass destruction and power can come here. They then came to a close with Naruto, as Naruto told him that he wouldn't listen to them because they don't have any say over him. It's not like they run the entire world. But after a while they came to a conclusion, as Naruto is going to allow Jessica Ju to be on his team. She is blessed with amazing abilities, speed, reflex and all that, and strength. As she's going to be there to watch it and make sure that nothing hostile is going on in the team. So she's basically going to be a spy, but Naruto told them that once she's on his team, she works for him and not them. As they came to a conclusion, so they won't get in each other way. As Ross was told a lot of time to not get on Naruto's bad side, or to go around Naruto's head, so he decided to just tell him the truth here and now. After the meeting was over, Naruto allowed Tony and Bruce Banner to look at the stone, as him and Clint went off. As Clint brought him to his house, as Naruto met back with the two kids, as they've been a while since they saw him. As someone else was here though, as it was Natasha. As it was a bit awkward at first, but the kids always break the mood and liven it up, as Naruto told them about his time in space, and about the talking raccoon that he met. After that, Natasha was sitting by herself, as Naruto told her he can heal her, as he saw her looking at the kids, and make her have a family of her own. She was surprised as she thought Naruto didn't want anything to do with her, as he told her that things change. She told him she was going to think about it. With that, Naruto said his goodbyes and he started left. He then told whatever it is to come out. It was a black bird with a green eye. It has been watching him since Wakanda. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say we begin this new episode? Well, who are you, Naruto said as he looked at the raven. My name is Moonin. Well Moonin, what do you want with me, Naruto asked. You've been following me since Wakanda. I was asked to observe you by my master, Moonin said. He wished for me to observe you until the time he wished to speak to you. And it's safe to assume that time is now, Naruto said. Moonin twitched his head in a nod. That is correct. And who's your master, Naruto asked. My master go by many names. Spear Shaker, Wise One, the Raven King, but most known him as the King of Asgard, I'm protector of all 9 realms, Munin said. My master, my king is Odin. Well, crap, Nerd said in surprise. What does the king of Asgard want with me? Our king has a quest for you. A voice said behind him. Nerd nearly jumped as he turned to see Amora, as she was dressed in her green gown. She seemed to have toned down her appearance over the years, as she's trying to come off as an average person. But she failed in that attempt, because she was still a natural beauty, something unnatural. You could just tell that she was something from this world. Then again, she was a goddess. Don't let that bitch get too close, brat. I don't think I can deal with another visitor today. My patience is running thin, Krama said. What do you want, Naruto said. As I said, our king has a quest for you. It's of the utmost importance. And why in hell would I go anywhere with you, Naruto asked. She sighed. I know that our past is tricky, but I wouldn't be here if what our king requests of you is important. If I had it my way, I would have never shown my face to you again. But I owe my king everything, so I come before you, knowing that the only thing that keeping you from wiping me off the face of this planet is your patient. Isn't that sincere, she asked. Not really, Kurama said. Well, not that she could hear him. Naruto thought it over for several seconds. What's the request, he asked. My king wished to tell you that himself, but you are the only can do what our king requests, she said. Why can't he do it, Naruto said. Isn't he supposed to be this all-powerful god or something? He has been stripped of his power. He's weak and frail. He's in no shape to do it, she said. And what about Thor? I can't say, Amora said. I'll leave my king to explain why. Naruto took a breath in as he then released it. Fine, let's go. As Amora walked up to her, the raven landed on her shoulder. She reached up to grab Naruto's arm, but he grabbed her wrist. If this is a trick, I won't be happy. Understand, he said in a dangerous tone. She winced as he was like a vice grip grabbing her arm. Yes, I understand, she said. As he let her go and seal cushion her way into the seal. Let's go, he said. Right, she said, as she grabbed his arm. A flash of green energy lighted up the field, and in an instant, they were gone. Naruto opened back his eyes as he was on a beautiful field. Welcome, Naruto Uzumaki. Where am I, Naruto said. As Amora walked over and sat beside her king, the Lufen Islands. I took him here after I found him in New York years ago. Why was he in New York, Naruto asked. Amora looked at her king, sadness in her eyes. Loki exiled him, banishing him in a Manhattan retirement home through the use of spells that I taught him. I managed to find him by chance and break the spells, but he has refused to leave his exile. So I took him here. It's the closest thing to home I can find, she said. Odin, who seemed to be ignoring the conversation going on about him, he spoke. My son Loki, he's a troubled boy. In his 1,500 years of life, he has lived in the shadow of others. But now through my exile, I can give him the chance to be out of that shadow, no matter how short it may be. I consider that my last gift to him. As Naruto looked Odin over, You're dying, aren't you, Naruto said. Odin chuckled. Aren't we all, he said. How long do you have, Naruto asked. 2 years, 7 months, and 2 days, Odin said. Okay, Naruto said. As he scratched his head, is that like a guess or something? Odin laughed softly. I suppose you can call it that. Though I can see many things, there are many things that are cloudy to me. You, for instance, or for the future that I see. Either way, I find that coming date worrisome. Yeah, I would too, Naruto said. It isn't my death that I find worrisome. Something else would happen on that day. What I see is fog. It is mysterious, but in a way obvious. Something that my death is a catalyst to, Odin said. My death is a movement, all working down the clock of life itself. That is what I see. Death. What does your death cause, Naruto asked, as he was disturbed by the king's words. With my death, my power fades. My power is the only thing holding back the executioner of Asgard. She will bring Asgard and their people to their knees with her power. She will slaughter everyone that gets in her way before she stops. That is, if she can be stopped at all. With my death, my eldest child will be released onto the world, Odin said. You want me to fight your daughter when you die, Naruto asked in disbelief. Why don't you ask Thor to do it? This seems like a family issue. Thor is mighty, but Hella, she's godly. In my prime, I could barely defeat her. It was my soft, weak nature that allowed me to make her live, and that I thought that I could hold her off forever. In my youth, I thought that I would live eternally. But it was too late when I grew too old and weak that I realized I've been a fool. And now this new generation must live with my foolishness. Naruto sighed as he could see resemblance between Odin and the third Hokage. Both allow a monster to live in their past and then live to regret it. Orochimaru, and now it was this Hella. What did she do? Naruto said. Your daughter, Hella, she must have done something terrible to make you feel this way about your own flesh and blood. It was Amora who answered. She committed an unspeakable act against Asgard. Unspeakable, huh? Naruto said. So what, you expect me to be on call until you finally pass on, so I can fight this super strong she-god whenever she pops up? No, we will send you to Hela and you will fight her and destroy her in her prison, said Amora. And what the hell would I get out of this? Naruto said. You think that I will do this out of the kindness of my heart or something? Your reward for completing Odin's quest is the location of the reality stone, said Amora. That caught Naruto off guard. You know where it is? Odin stood up from his seat. Thor had managed to procure the stone right before my exile. I didn't like the thought of having two Infinity Stones so close to each other, especially considering our previous security blunders. In secret, I ordered Thor to find someone that is capable of hiding the reality stone. While he managed to find someone, I believe I find someone better. He then motioned to Naruto. My sight has faded, much in my old age. Your past and future are as blurry to me as the rest, but the bits I can make out. I know I'm making the right choice by choosing you to take on this quest. As Odin rested a hand on Naruto's shoulder, Naruto could see the weight that the man was carrying. The weight that was almost crushing him in his old age. As Naruto sighed. Okay, Naruto said. I'll do it. Time skip. Thor thrust his hammer forward as it smashed into a bunch of dark elves. Left, a voice said. Thor thrust his hammer. No, you idiot, my left. As Thor turned around. You know you need to be more specific. As Thor was fighting along with a companion, a light elf. As the light elf scoffed as he pointed his blasters towards the dark elf that was coming towards him and blasted them. Oh, shut up, he said. Thor thrust his hammer forward and knocking away the dark elf. You know, for an elf named Honeypot, you're quite sour in that department. It's honey shot, the elf said. It's Ivory, honey shot. Same thing, Thor said, as he pulled the hammer back to him. You know, the stories I heard about you never told me how agitated you are, Ivory said as he ducked under a swing. And the stories I've heard about you, oh wait, there are none, Thor said, as he thrust his hammer in the cranium of a dark elf, decapitating him on impact. As the dark elf number started to dwindle, the elf scoffed. I can't believe the All-Mother forced me to help a buffoon like you. Why she feared you and the Raven King, I would never know. Thor, hearing that, smirked as he saw the dark elves gather together and they were charging towards him. As he channeled lightning into his hammer, as he swung it at an incredible pace, as he leapt up into the air, he then turned. As he came down a free fall, his hammer thrusted downwards. As he exploded in the ground upon impact, everything was sent blowing away, electricity sparking out. Thor stepped out of the crater that he created as he looked over at the white elf. That's why, he said. The elf could only sigh as he looked around, looking for any survivors. These tourists were a fool, thinking that they could hold themselves off here. They lost any kind of leadership with Milk It. I doubt they thought they could succeed, Thor said as he placed his hammer over his shoulder. Right, Ivy said. I wonder if there is any more of these dark elves out there. I hate to think I participate in the extermination of a race of people. Likewise, Thor said. Well, let's return to the palace. Wow, this place is surely beautiful for a battleground, a voice said, stopping the both of them. As Thor and Ivy took positions as the voices behind them, Thor then relaxed when he saw who it was. Naruto? Oh, how's it going, Thor? Naruto said. Ivy looked back forward as he looked at the two. Thor, you know this person? Yes, this is Naruto Uzumaki. He's a warrior from space or something. He's mighty, I assure you. Ivory looked Naruto up and down. How did you get here? You are not from the Nine Realms, so how did you access the Bifrost? Oh, that, Naruto said. I tagged Thor with a Hiroshima tag, Naruto said. A what? Thor said. Naruto then looked at Thor with a serious face. Thor, how long have you been away from Earth? Thor raised an eyebrow. It's been a year or so. Is there something wrong? He asked. It's about your father. My father? Thor said. Naruto nodded. They implied they didn't want me to tell you, but I didn't like the idea. What is going on with my father? Thor asked. It's a long story, Naruto said. Time skip. Amora was preparing tea for Odin as Odin was sitting in his chair. You know he's going to tell your son sooner or later. He's not that kind of man to lie to his friends, even if you order him not to. Odin nodded as he got his tea and took a sip. I am aware of him. And even if he tells my son the truth, that is a product of my own actions, and something I have myself to blame for. She sighed. Still, I feel like it could have been avoided. Odin laughed. My son would have found out eventually. Despite how he acts, despite his brute fighting style, he's an intelligent warrior. He will demand to fight her, Amora said. Oh, I'm sure he will. Right, my boy, Odin said. Amora jumped at the sudden presence of Thor and Naruto. As Thor didn't look pleased, so it is true. Odin slowly nodded. Indeed. Before Amora could react, Thor was in Odin's face as he pulled at his collar. How could you? How could you lie? Lying all this time, all these years. When are you going to tell me? Likely before I die, he said truthfully. How could you? Thor said. Odin placed his hand on Thor's hands. I am not going to lie to you and say I did it for the greater good. I lie for me. It's simple as that. He released his father roughly. Tell me where she is in prison. Why? Odin asked. What do you hope to achieve with that information? I'm going to talk to my sister. I will decide what I do after I talk with her. She will kill you, Amora said. But Thor didn't react to her talking, so she decided to explain about Hella's situation. She's been kept inside of Hell, a sub-world within the Niflheim. Inside of Hell is a realm known as Nasfrom, and that is a place to cut off the occupants from the outside world. No one can escape or enter without Odin's permission. And once you enter that place, you might have seemed to not exist. Thor then looked at Amora as he glared at Odin. So give me permission then. I cannot do that, Odin said. I have already given Naruto the key. Only one can exist at times, and only the holder can decide who goes. Fine then, Thor said as he made to leave. Come then, Naruto, we have a... No, Odin said, as Thor stopped and glared at his father. What do you mean no? I am going. I will not send you off to Valhalla, Odin said. Not you, not like your mother. This is my mistake, and I refuse to pay it off with your blood. As Odin then cried out in pain, as he clutched his chest, Thor and Amora quickly rushed towards his side, as Amora tried to ease his pain with her magic. As Thor could only watch his strong father pale in front of his eyes. As Thor looked over at Amora, her hands glowing over his chest. What are you doing to my father? He asked. Before Thor could do anything, Naruto placed a hand on his shoulder. Thor stopped. Thor was immediately in Naruto's face. She's a witch. She could be bewitching him, weakening him. She's helping him, Naruto said. Thor, he's dying. Thor took a step back in shock. What? It's true, Amora said. Loki banishment hastened it, but he's been on limited time for decades now. Loki? Thor said, as he sat down in a chair, as his legs felt like they were being shaken. I'm going to kill him, he said in rage, as he closed his eyes, lightning cackling around his hands. His eyes snapped open when he felt a hand on his chest plate. It was Odin kneeling before him. Thor, please, he said. Don't go to her. I can't let her do it again. Not like before. I barely survived it. I know my life flickering away. I knew I cannot survive it if she took you too. Father, Thor said, as he calmed himself seeing his father in such a state. Okay, I won't. Good, said Odin as his grip lessened. Now tell me everything, he said, as he wanted to understand about his sister. Time skip. Naruto sighed as he stood outside the hut, as Thor and his father was speaking inside, as Naruto was sitting on a rock, cross-legged. So, when are we doing this? Kurama asked. As soon as Thor is done talking to Odin, Naruto said. So soon? Kurama asked. I'd like to get this over with, Naruto said. My clone can take care of anything that might pop up in the time I'm gone anyway. I say do it as quickly as possible. According to that witch, time moves slower over there. A few hours in that place could be days in the real world. Yeah, I got it, Naruto said. Well, you've never been able to understand things like time displacement. I hate for you to gone and come back and a month has been passed over a year. Yeah, that would suck, Naruto said. But things should go smoothly. An idea struck Naruto. I'll be right back, Kurama, he said, as he focused his mind. Kurama blinked in confusion, but he didn't realize what Naruto was talking about. Oh, going to talk to Lady Death, huh? Her name is Frigga, Naruto said, as he was sucked into his mindscape, where Frigga was housed. Opening his eyes, Naruto smiled at the beautiful woman in front of him. Hello, beloved, Frigga said. Frigga, Naruto said kindly. So, I'm sure you know what is happening. I have, she said. I never expect you to take on someone who has used my name in their campaign of power. It's a little ironic in a way. Any advice, Naruto asked. Her moniker is one deserved. It was given to her by the Light Elves after she slaughtered and execute every single member of the royal family in the Asgard invasion. Originally, she was the goddess of war, but her bloodlust led to a new title, the goddess of death. She was born and raised to be the ultimate weapon. That is her purpose. She was the sharpest sword and the sturdiest shield. She can kill anyone and be killed by no one. She sounds tough. She has any weakness, Naruto asked. None. Your fight will be one of attrition, Frigga said. Right, Naruto said. So I will need a battle strategy. And we both know how badly you are at those, Frigga said. I suggest you stick to your strong suit and stick to the fly. Probably, Naruto said. I'll think of something either way. No, Frigga said. As she was serious, you cannot take this carelessly. You need to approach it as serious as you can, okay? Seeing the worried look on her face, Naruto smiled. I'll be careful, he said. She sighed as she looked away from Naruto the huff. No, you won't, she said. Naruto chuckled. It would be strange if you thought I would. You know me better than most, right? I do, Frigga said. And I know that you're going to try and talk to her, to get her to understand you, and you're going to try and understand her. You've done it before, several times, with Neji, Gaara, Nagato, Obito. You saved these people from themselves, with your taught no jutsu, as your friends later called it, she said. Naruto chuckled. I get, don't do that this time, Frigga said. She isn't someone to change. The moment you give her a chance, she will kill you. Naruto got up. You forget that my taught no jutsu. Never rely on my words first, anyway. About 3/4 of it revolves around me beating them senseless first. I leave the talking for when that is all I can muster, he said. Why do you insist on making things more difficult than they have to be? Frigga then scoffed slightly. I know that there isn't convincing you anyway, you fool, she said. Naruto simply smiled at her as he exited his mindscape. When he opened his eyes, he saw Amora in front of him. So, how are things inside, Naruto asked. Amora smiled softly. Good. Within the hut, Thor and Odin sit there, as the only sound could be heard was the crackling of fire until Thor spoke. Make me stronger. What? Odin said. You told me that I'm not strong enough. Well then, father, make me strong enough. Show me how to be strong in the short time you have left. One condition, Odin said. Name it. Leave Loki be. Until my death, Loki is to be left alone, Odin said. As Thor wanted to argue at first, but he stopped midway. Agreed, he said. Odin placed his hand on Thor's shoulder. I will make you realize a strength you never had, my son. But the door then creaked open as Naruto peeped his head in with a smile on his face. You guys good? Because I like to get my quest underway. Thor sighed. Fine then. Father, send him to hell. I'll be in charge of that, Amora said behind Naruto. I'll drop you off at hell, but then you have to travel to Asgard. The key should guide you to your destination. Naruto looked at his open palm, where Odin placed a key, a golden symbol. This thing hurt like a bitch, by the way, Naruto said. The pain will relieve itself once you get closer to Asgard, said Amora. Okay, Naruto said. Let's do this. Odin got up and stepped forward. He placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. All I can do is wish upon you the strength that you will need. My daughter. She needs peace. She has never known it. So, please help her get that. As Naruto nodded, time skip. For God's sake, why is it so cold? Naruto said as he wrapped his arms around his body as he was vibrating, trying to get warm. I thought hell was to be hot. A place of fire. Pillars of fire, lava, demon babies, the worst. Demon babies? Kurama questioned. Shut up, Naruto said. As soon as he had stepped to the portal, the frosty wind blasted him straight in the face. As Naruto found himself in a dead forest, the black trees looked like they had been burned a long time ago, with the pure white snows that surrounded them. He pushed forward the pain from Odin's key, dimming slightly the further he walked. An idea then came to him as he pulled out a scroll. He then released the content that was inside. It was a thick, brown coat as he covered himself with it, as he wrapped a red scarf around his neck as well. But they only helped a little. It was still goddamn cold. You know, you could have just activated one of the cloaks to block out the cold, Kurama said. Damn it, Naruto cursed as he activated the base 9-tail cloak. You're welcome, brat, said Kurama as he chuckled. Stupid idiot, he muttered. As he walked further and further into the forest, the pain started to lessen a lot. All of the trees then vanished, as it was just pure snow though. As Naruto then stopped, Kurama looked up from within the seal, his ears twitching with interest. Naruto. As Naruto pulled his head back, but he sneezed. Damn it, I had that sneeze in the back of my throat for at least 2 minutes now. Idiot, Kurama said, as he put back down his head. As Naruto took another step forward, he could heard stepping in the snow and it wasn't him. You hear that, partner? Naruto said. Kurama ear twitched. 6 o'clock, he said. Naruto quickly ducked down, avoiding a giant fist that nearly smashed into his head. He rolled forward as he turned around to get a good look at his attacker. The man was large, his flesh frozen over, turned a decayed purple and blue, as his eyes were shining a blue color, as it seemed very dark, and the man was growling like an animal. He jumped towards Naruto as he raised his hand to smash down on Naruto with great force. Naruto raised his hand as he grabbed the man's fist. The man's torso was left right open as Naruto smashed his hand right through it as he dropped the dead body. As Naruto looked at his hand, it was covered in ice. He then had to jump out of the way, dodging several ice projectiles. As he realized they were arrows, he looked for their shooter. As he saw another frozen man in the distance, Naruto vanished. He appeared in front of the man, delivered a spinning kick, snapping the man's neck in two. As he landed, his leg buckled. As he looked down to see his leg was frozen like his hand. He quickly added some of Manatabi flames where the ice has came up. It quickly melted off. As Naruto's eyes then went wide as the ground started to shift. It seemed that the snow had covered them, Kurama said, as there was hundreds of these little ice men, as all of them were glaring at him dangerously. What is this feeling, Naruto said. They're already dead, said Kurama. You can't feel them because you're dead. It seems like the only reason they're attacking you is because you're alive. As Naruto looked at their uniform, they were warriors, different from different time frames. Vikings, warriors, that Naruto recognized to be Asgardians. But there were some light and dark elves, some giants, some dwarfs as well. He even recognized some Earth military uniform in the crowd. He was completely surrounded by a never-ending wave of frozen zombies. A frozen Nazi officer then broke from the crowd, charging towards him. Naruto summoned the Nibi's chakra as he pushed it outwards, blowing them away from him. Now able to move freely, he encased his body in the blue flames of the Nibi's chakra as he started his assault on them, snapping their necks, tearing right through them. As he flew up in the sky and released huge flames that consumed the entire area, scorching all of them into nothingness. As he rained down more hellfires as they started to smash into the zombie, incinerating their body as a whole. And yet, they still kept coming. For each he killed, it seemed like 5 more of them took their place. It was insane. As Naruto was getting annoyed, this is ridiculous, he said. As he started to get the hell out of there, he then came to an open circle. The zombies seemed to be avoiding this. And in the center of that circle stood a single hooded figure. His cloak seemed to be made entirely of darkness, his face hidden by the hood. Now face to face with the figure, Naruto realized the zombies had stopped attacking him. His attention on the hooded figure and the countless zombies surrounding them, Naruto decided to use his time to catch his breath. The figure then extended his hands out as he speed through hand sign, shocking the hell out of Naruto. As he released flames, Naruto jumped up as the flames incinerated the zombies behind him. The figure then turned as he motioned for Naruto to follow him. As Naruto walked with the figure, as he was confused as hell. What the hell is going on? As the zombies were not attacking, they were just glaring at them. The figure then spoke. I suppose it's been a long time since we last spoke. You use fire ninjutsu, a powerful one. Who are you? Naruto said. I'm glad you don't think my skills have dwindled after all this time. It's good to see you again, Naruto, the figure said. as he pulled down his hood. As Naruto recognized the man instantly, his jet black long hair went down his face with the frozen blue color as the zombies, but Naruto could tell instantly who he was, and a single red cloth was wrapped tightly around his eyes. Itachi, Naruto said. Itachi smiled. Hello, Naruto. What? How? What? Naruto kept mumbling. Follow me. They won't be like that for much longer, Itachi said, as he and Naruto walked in the same direction they had been going in. As Itachi then started to sprint. Hey, wait for me, Naruto said. With his 6-path stage mode activated, it didn't take long for him to catch up. Itachi then turned. What are you doing here, Naruto? I could ask you the same thing. Itachi nodded. I suppose that it's fair. It can wait until we get to my camp. Right. Lead the way, I guess, Naruto said. Eventually, thanks to the speed they were going through, the fields started to fade away and the ice started to fade, as they were now on a road. As they came up to a cliffside, as there was a massive tower there, as Itachi led Naruto inside, there was a campfire burning inside as well. Naruto raised the eyebrow at Itachi's camp. We will be safe in here. This is an Asgardian post that has long been abandoned, Itachi said, in his usual stoic tone. Naruto, standing next to the flame, spoke. Itachi, what the hell? I am sorry for being so discreet, Itachi said, but the Hell Walkers will only stay away for so long, before their impatience override their instincts. It was for the best we get away as soon as possible. What do you mean? Is that why they didn't attack us? Their instincts told them not to, Naruto said, as he was very confused. Itachi nodded. Yes, in a way I am special. I have been touched by a being that they fear, and I suppose that touch has left a residue that they know to avoid. But it only lasts so long. Eventually, they attack out of pure instincts. Naruto plopped down next to the fire. You need to explain, Naruto said. I don't understand. Itachi took a seat. I am here because it's a part of my punishment. Punishment, Naruto said. Yes, Itachi said with a smile. Punishment for my crimes. But you... Everything you did for the greater good. You did what you thought was right. You were a hero, Naruto said. When I died, nothing happened. It was like I was asleep. But then I was woken up by Kabuto's jutsu. And when that jutsu finally ended, I was presented to a judge. She told me that for my sacrifice, I could go to any afterlife I wish. I had the pick of any dimension or reality. It was mine to have. So I chose here, a cold hell, where I was supposed to walk alone for all my eternity. And when I got here, I was forced to go through another judgment. This time they weighed my sins and decided what to take from me accordingly, Itachi said as he lifted his hand up, as he pulled on the cloth in his eyes. As Naruto could clearly see that his eye sockets were empty, the judge demanded my eyes. So now, here I am, a blind man walking along through hell, befitting punishment. As Naruto looked at Itachi and shook his head. Itachi, why? He said. It is what I deserve. I could not bear facing the people I hurt, my comrades, my family, Sasuke. I could not dream of seeing them again. That would have been selfish of me. I think I've been selfish enough in the time that I was alive. As Naruto could only sit there listening to the fire would crackle. Tell me why you're here, Itachi said. Did you die? No, Naruto said, as Itachi relaxed. I've been sent here on a quest from a guy named Odin. I'm looking for a place called Nescron. Nescron? Itachi said. Yeah, you know what, Naruto asked. Yes, it is not too far from here. Awesome, Naruto said with a smile. Itachi then spoke. Naruto, why are you all the way here, performing a quest for a god that is not from our pantheon? You being here is very confusing. It was then that Naruto realized Itachi had no idea what happened. I fail. What? Itachi said. As Naruto went on to tell Itachi what happened between Sasuke, him and Kaguya, and the others. I see, said Itachi after Naruto finished speaking. As Naruto closed his eyes in frustration because of me. I'm sorry. All of your sacrifice was for nothing, he said. I'm so sorry. You are not responsible, said Itachi. What? Naruto said. The blame lay on this Kaguya woman, on Zetsu and Madara, on Obito, Nagato. The blame lie on me. We are the one responsible. I am the one that is responsible. I can only imagine the pain that you've been through. Because of me. Do not ever apologize to me, Itachi said. All Naruto could do at that moment was laugh. We are just a bunch of broken fools, he said. Itachi smiled at that. You would have made a grand Hokage, Naruto. You too, Itachi, Naruto said. Come, Itachi said, I will take you to Nazcron. Oh, okay, Naruto said as he got up. As he took notice of the key, it was just a throb now. It wasn't hurting that bad anymore. Wait, what about the zombie things? The Hellwalkers stay clear of that place. Whatever is in there, it frightened them to the core. The few times I've gotten close, I felt incredibly uneasy. It's the feeling I get when I was around Pain or Toby. We should hurry. Your presence is an unknown variable, and they attack anything like that. Okay, Nerd said. Let's go then. As the both of them sprinted towards their destination, as they started to change again, the environment, now becoming more mountainous, all leading up to a M. It was a mountain shaped like a M, straight up to the top. As Naruto saw something at the top, it was a door. Is that it? Naruto asked. Yes, Itachi said. It's not what I expected, Naruto said. Well, I didn't know what I was expecting. As they continued their journey towards the door, Naruto, why are you here? Itachi asked. I was asked by Odin to come here. He's ruler of this realm or something, and the power that holds the thing in here is connected to him in some way. And if he dies, it will be free. She will be free. She, Itachi said. His daughter, Hella. For a second of thought, Itachi asked, what do you get out of this? A powerful object called the Reality Stone. There's a powerful guy after it named Thanos. He's after all of them. They all have an aspect of the universe. You have the space, power, mind, reality, time, and soul. So I'm trying to get as much of them as possible before he does. I have 3 right now, this will be my 4th. And what will you do with the stones? What's this Thanos is dealt with? Itachi asks. I don't know, Naruto said. Another second passed, and if you were have all 6, you will control all aspects of the universe. Asked Itachi. Yes, Naruto said. Including power to control life. Yes, Naruto said. As the two of them start to run, have you ever been told the story of the 2 tigers and the strawberry? Itachi asked. What? No, Naruto said. I suppose you wouldn't have, since you weren't a Uchiha. My father told it to me many times as a child. A lone man traveled across a field, stumbling across a hungry tiger. The man used a lone vine to swing himself across the edge. The tiger then sniffed. Trembling below, the man looked down to see another tiger, waiting patiently for him. Only the vine saved him. The man looked around and spotted a fresh strawberry near him. He grasped the vine with one hand, as he reached for the luscious fruit, and how sweet it tasted. As Naruto waited for Itachi to continue, but he finished. That's it, Naruto said. My father told me that you have to enjoy the present moment, that suffering is unavoidable, and you must be grateful for what is in front of you, Itachi said. But my father believed that this was wrong, Itachi said. He believed the man on the vine was a fool, who was too busy enjoying the fruits of life to see that he was in danger. He rather the pleasures over life than his survival. Is that what you believe then? Naruto asked. Yes, for a long time, Itachi said. I have always thought that the story has cut off too short. I believe that the man used a strawberry to feed the tiger below and climb to safety. But I believe that the thinking of that is what led me down this path. It's what led me to spy on the Akatsuki, to fight in Sasuke instead of talking to him like I should have. Before Naruto could continue, he realized the pain coming from his ki had faded away completely. We're here, Naruto said as he spotted the door. Itachi stopped as he looked incredibly paler as he was so close to the place. This is where I leave you then. Thank you, Itachi, Naruto said. As Itachi nodded, goodbye, Naruto, but he was cut off as Naruto enveloped him in a tight hug. Goodbye, Itachi, Naruto said, ignoring the ice that was building up around him. As Naruto let go of the last piece of his home, as he pressed his hand the key on the door, as Naruto saw Itachi turn away and going back down the mountainside. As the light faded from the door and Naruto held onto the knob. As the door opened and closed, Itachi walked away, with the frozen tears going down his cheek. Meanwhile, with Thor and the others, a clone Naruto left behind with them suddenly popped. As Amor looked over what just happened. It is as I fear. His connection cannot be over here and in there at the same time. It's most likely all of the clone that he left behind has popped as well. Do you think he knows? Thor asked. He's supposed to know what they know, the clone told us. More than likely he won't know until he left that place. That is if he leave, Amora said. Odin remained silent as he stared into the fire in front of him, watching 2 figures dance in the flames. Meanwhile, Naruto raised his hand as he stared at the vast mountain range he found himself in. As the place was grey, as the clouds filled the sky. As he jumped down the mountainside, his huge magnet released to fly off. and pushed him down. As Naruto came to a cavern that was made from a black metal, obsidian. As he was going forward, the obsidian shot out towards him as he had to tilt his body as it was like a spear that nearly tear right through him. My, this is a surprise. A visitor. Has my father sent someone new for me to play with? What was the name of the last one? Herman. I hope you're more entertaining than that fool was. The voice came from inside the cavern. As Naruto dropped to the ground and quickly entered a Sage 6-path mode. As Naruto watched as she stepped out of the cavern, she looked at him with a hungry look in her eye. As she looked at him strangely. I will admit I'm a little rusty, but isn't it customary for an Asgardian warrior to bow before their queen? Naruto gave an apologetic smile. I'm sorry, but I'm not Asgardian, he said. Oh? What are you then? You're not pretty enough to be an elf. And you're too handsome to be a giant or a dwarf. Well, I never really thought of what I am, Naruto said. But I guess we can go for an elemental. An elemental? I never heard of you. But that could explain why you're on fire. You're Hella, right? Naruto said. As she raised her arm out, yes, I am Hella, conqueror of the 9 realms. Asgard, executioner. The Raven King. War Dog. The goddess of death. In an instant, Naruto flashed in front of her as he grabbed her by the throat and smashed her into the cabin. But she just looked at him with a smile. Name's Naruto, he said. I think you know why I'm here. Of course, she said. Let me indulge you, boy. But guys, be ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn that bell notifications they posted. Remember to share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, stay tuned for the rest of the what ifs coming your way. And I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. Thank you all for helping your support. But for now, much for you guys. See you guys soon. Peace.